Hello all, welcome to JCE Connect. In previous lecture, we have discussed about viscosity of liquid. We have defined viscosity and we have derived the equation for viscosity, that is tau is equal to mu into du by dy, and also the units of viscosity also we have discussed. In MK system, the unit of viscosity, that is viscosity is measured in kg for second per meter square, and in CGS system the unit of viscosity is Dyne second per centimeter square. In the SI system, viscosity Newton second per meter square, and the unit of viscosity in CGS system is also called as a poise, which is equal to the 1 Dyne second per centimeter square, and 1 poise equal to 1 by 10 Newton second per meter square. And in SI units, second is represented by S and not by this one, SEC. Okay. If viscosity is given in poise, it must be divided by 10 to get its equivalent numerical value in SI system. Okay. Suppose if the viscosity is given in a poise, you have to divide it by 10 to get its equivalent numerical value in SI system. Sometimes the unit of viscosity is given in centipoise, or sometimes it will be used in centipoise also, where 1 centipoise is equal to 1 by 100 poise. 1 centipoise equal to 1 by 100 poise, or 1 centipoise equal to 1 by 100 p, like that. It can be written like this. So here Cp represents centipoise and P represents the poise. The viscosity of water at 20 degrees Celsius, viscosity of water at 20 degrees Celsius is 0.01 poise or 1 centipoise. Now this previous this one, this viscosity, this viscosity is called as dynamic viscosity. Dynamic viscosity. This is dynamic viscosity. Dynamic viscosity. And next, one more type of viscosity we are going to discuss as kinematic viscosity. So kinematic viscosity means it is defined as the ratio between the dynamic viscosity and density of the fluid. It is denoted by a Greek symbol nu. Then mathematically the kinematic viscosity is written as the ratio between viscosity and density, that is viscosity by density, is equal to mu by rho. So kinematic viscosity is the measure of fluid's inherent resistance to flow when no external force except gravity is acting on it. So in MKS and SI, the unit of kinematic viscosity is meter square per second. So meter square per second. Meter square per second or meter square per second, while in CGS units it is written as centimeter square per second. In CGS units, kinematic viscosity is also known as Stokes. It's very important. Kinematic viscosity is also known as Stokes. So 1 Stokes equal to centimeter square per second, that is nothing but a Stokes. So 1 by 100 whole square meter square per second, or 10 raised to minus 4 meter square per second. So 1 centistoke means 1 by 100 stokes. 1 centistoke means 1 by 100 stokes. So these are the very important for the conversion purpose. If the kinematic viscosity is given in a stokes, you have to convert it by multiplying 10 raised to minus 4 meters, 10 raised to minus 4 to convert from stoke to meter square per second. 1 centistokes is equal to 1 by 100 stokes. When should you use dynamic viscosity measurements? So many a times there is a question when we should use the dynamic viscosity for the measurement. So suppose if you are testing dynamic viscosity, when you want to know the internal resistance of the fluid or the force required to move one plane of the liquid over another, then there we use the dynamic viscosity. So the measurement of dynamic viscosity is the most useful for liquids which change their apparent characteristics as force or pressure is applied. So these liquids are known as non-Newtonian liquids or fluids. Non-Newtonian fluids are sensitive to changes in the amount of force exerted on them and can sometimes even permanently change their viscosity if a constant force has been exerted on them over a period of time. So another example of the importance of dynamic viscosity measurement is to indicate the proper flow characteristics of a ketchup. That is ketchup here. This is the tomato ketchup. You can say ketchup. If to indicate the proper flow characteristics of a ketchup, this product needs to have a lower viscosity. So whatever picture I am showing here, this product needs to have a lower viscosity as it flows to get it out of the bottle, but needs to be thick or not as inclined to flow when sitting on the burger. Testing the viscosity of the ketchup at different speeds will help ensure that the ketchup is behave as it should. So another application is in the design of pumping systems, because the viscosity of non-Newtonian liquids changes with the speed of movement. Pressure and pump velocity have serious impact on the specification of proper pumps. Pressure and piping size. Testing the product at different speeds will help provide guidelines for the design of the pumping system. Okay, so in these all cases we do require dynamic viscosity. So the first one is to indicate the proper flow characteristics of the ketchup. Second, we require the design of pumping system and all. So the proper the viscosity of the fluid to be maintained, and that viscosity what we call as a dynamic viscosity. So when we should use the dynamic viscosity for the measurement. Okay. This measurement is used mostly for non-Newtonian fluids. Sorry, mostly for Newtonian fluids. Newtonian fluids or Newtonian liquids that do not change viscosity with changes in applied force, that is shear rate. So testing lubricating oils is a significant application. Using this testing method, changes in viscosity at different temperatures and under different environmental conditions can be determined. With this information, changes in lubricating effectiveness can be evaluated, and some other products for which the kinematic method is suitable are oil, gasoline, glycerine, and alcohol. Then, what is Newton's law of viscosity? So we have already derived an equation for viscosity, and what does it mean? Means that is Newton's law of viscosity means what? The statement of this law is what? It states that the shear stress tau on a fluid element layer is directly proportional to the rate of shear strain. The constant of proportionality is called the coefficient of viscosity, and mathematically it is expressed as tau equal to mu into du by dy. So this is the Newton's law of viscosity, can be given like this. That is, the shear stress on a fluid element layer is directly proportional to the rate of shear strain. Means it can be written as tau equal to du by dy. So when you replace this proportionality term and introduce a term mu, this mu is called as coefficient of viscosity. Then fluids which obey the above relation, means this relation, are known as Newtonian fluids, and the fluids which do not obey the above relation are called as non-Newtonian fluids. So the fluids which obey the relation, that is stress is proportional to the rate of shear strain, they are called as a Newtonian fluids, and the fluids which do not obey the relation, this above relation, they are called as a non-Newtonian fluids. Then what Then variation of viscosity with the temperature, how the viscosity varies as the temperature increases. So here the temperature affects the viscosity. The viscosity of the liquid decreases with increase of temperature. So here you can write the viscosity of the liquid is inversely proportional to the temperature. Okay, so here as the temperature increases, the viscosity decreases, and as the temperature decreases, the viscosity increases. Okay, so here it is mentioned the temperature affects the viscosity. The viscosity of the liquid decreases with the increase of temperature, while the viscosity of gases increases with increase of temperature. So this is due to reason that the viscous forces in a fluid are due to the cohesive forces and molecular momentum transfer. So we can draw a graph between a viscosity and a temperature. Okay, so here write as the temperature increases, the viscosity decreases. So here we can write this. Sorry, here this can be written as a mu viscosity versus this is temperature. So as the temperature increases, the viscosity decreases, and for gases, this will increases like this. So here this is due to the reason that the viscous forces in a fluid are due to the cohesive forces and molecular momentum transfer. In liquid, cohesive forces are predominates. Sorry, this graph will be like this. There is this one. This is not like this. It will be like this. This is for liquids and this is for gases. Okay. So as I mentioned, in liquids, the cohesive forces are more predominant. More predominates the molecular momentum transfer due to closely packed molecules, and with increase in temperature, the cohesive forces decreases with the result of decreasing viscosity. You can observe here, as the temperature increases, the cohesive force decreases, hence the viscosity decreases. But in case of the gases, the cohesive forces are small and the molecular momentum transfer predominates. With increasing temperature, molecular momentum transfer increases and hence viscosity increases. So we can take a relation, that is viscosity and temperature. Viscosity is inversely proportional to the temperature. So the rheological classification of fluids. Rheology means a study of stress strain behavior of the fluid. So there are different types of fluids. So we may come across that they are ideal fluids, real fluid, Newtonian fluid, non-Newtonian fluid, and ideal plastic fluid. So what is ideal fluid? A fluid which is incompressible and is having no viscosity is known as an ideal fluid. Ideal fluid is only an imaginary fluid, as all the fluids which exist have some viscosity. Means the ideal fluid is one which doesn't have any viscosity, but it is an only imaginary fluid, but in reality that fluid doesn't exist. So real fluid, a fluid which possesses a viscosity, is known as a real fluid. All fluids in actual practice are real fluids. And one more is a Newtonian fluid. So Newtonian fluid means a real fluid in which the shear stress is directly proportional to the rate of shear strain or velocity gradient is known as a Newtonian fluid. Or the fluids which obey the Newton's law, they are called as a Newtonian fluid. Non-Newtonian fluid is a real fluid in which the stress is not proportional to rate of shear strain or velocity gradient is known as a non-Newtonian fluid. Ideal plastic fluid, a fluid in which the shear stress is more than the yield value and shear stress is proportional to the rate of shear strain or velocity gradient is known as an ideal plastic fluid. So here the graph showing the Newtonian fluid. So for the Newtonian fluid, this is a Newtonian fluid. The shear stress is proportional to the velocity gradient. So the curve we are getting here is a linear curve. Okay, this is Newtonian fluid. All low viscous fluids are classified as a Newtonian fluid. Non-Newtonian fluid, this shear stress is not proportional to the velocity gradient. So hence we are getting this non-linear curve. So this is a non-Newtonian fluid. And ideal plastic fluid, we required initial stress to deform. So certain initial stress is required for the deformation, and this afterwards the deformation will be linear. This is called ideal plastic fluid. And ideal fluid is one which doesn't have any viscosity. So here along the x-axis we are getting ideal fluid curve, and ideal solid is So this is along y-axis, whatever the curve we are getting is ideal solid curve. Next, Newtonian fluid. Newtonian fluid means what? A fluid which obeys Newton's law of viscosity, that is tau equal to mu into du by dy, is called Newtonian fluid. In such fluids, shear stress varies directly as shear strain. So look at this graph here. So we are taking a air, water, oil, all are varying linearly. That is, stress is proportional to the rate of shear strain or the velocity gradient. So for example, all low viscous liquids are taken as Newtonian fluids. Example, water, kerosene, or oil, or alcohol. These all comes under the Newtonian fluid. In this case, the stress strain curve is straight line passing through the origin. Then the slope of the line gives the dynamic viscosity of the fluid. Is in this linear curve, if we take the slope of the curve anywhere, so this slope of curves gives the dynamic viscosity of the fluid, that is mu. Okay, this will we are getting from the graph. Non-Newtonian fluid, a fluid which does not obey the Newton's law of viscosity, is called as a non-Newtonian fluid. And we can get for non-Newtonian fluid tau equal to mu into du by dy whole raised to n, and this value of n could be of 2 or anything. Okay, so but it varies non-linearly. So this is the non-linear curve for the non-Newtonian fluid. So this is the non-Newtonian fluid, that is a fluid which does not obey the Newton's law of viscosity is called as non-Newtonian. And ideal plastic fluids. So in this case, ideal plastic fluids, in this case, a strain starts after certain initial stress. So look at this one. So this one up to here. Then the straining started, means the deformation has started. So the strain starts after a certain initial stress of this tau. Then the stress strain relation will be linear, and this tau is called as initial yield stress, tau O, and sometimes they are also called as a Bingham plastic. Okay. So here for this fluids we are getting the equation of this one, that is tau equal to mu into du by dy plus tau O. So this is the initial stress which we required for the deformation. These are called as a Bingham plastic, and example is industrial sludge, or you can take the toothpaste also. So toothpaste. Okay. So here it will be a solid up to a certain stress, and after that it will starts flowing. Means it requires initial stress for the deformation, then the variation will be linear. Okay, so this is ideal plastic fluid. So one more type is a thixotropic fluid. So thixotropic fluid, they require a certain amount of stress. So certain amount of yield stress here, certain amount of yield stress to initiate shear strain, like ideal plastics. So these fluids also required a certain stress to initiate the shear strain, and afterwards the stress strain relationship will be non-linear. Okay, this is okay. Example, printers ink, or you can take it as a printer's ink, or you can take as a blood, one can take it as a nail polish. So these all we can classify under thixotropic fluids. So thixotropic or shear thinning fluids can call as shear thinning. As the shear stress go on increases, the fluids viscosity go on decrease, means they become thinner and thinner. So these are called as thixotropic fluid. These require certain amount of yield stress to initiate shear strain, so or initiate deformation. Afterwards, the stress strain relationship will be non-linear. Next is ideal fluid. So ideal fluid, a fluid for which the viscosity is assumed to be at 0, is called as ideal fluid. For ideal fluids, shear stress is 0 for all the values of velocity gradient, that is du by dy. For ideal fluids, the shear stress curve will be like this. So this is the ideal fluid. So the stress will be 0 for all the values of velocity gradient. So this is for ideal fluid. Now real fluid. Any fluid which possesses a certain viscosity is called as a real fluid. It can be a Newtonian or non-Newtonian, thixotropic or ideal plastic. So these all are called as real fluids. A real fluid is one which possesses a viscosity is called as a real fluid, and it could be a Newtonian fluid or non-Newtonian, thixotropic or ideal plastic. So this is the graph we can get for all types of fluids. So if you take this x-axis and this is a y-axis, so where the stress is 0 for all the values of these velocity gradient, and those fluids are called as ideal fluids. And if the stress is proportional to strain, those fluids are called as a Newtonian fluids. If stress is not proportional to shear rate of shear strain, those fluids are called as a non-Newtonian fluids. And here ideal plastic or the Bingham plastic, so they required initial stress for their deformation, and if the deformation is linear, they are called as ideal plastic. If the deformation is non-linear, they are called as a thixotropic fluids or shear thinning fluids or shear thickening fluids. And non-Newtonian fluids or the pseudoplastic fluids are the shear thinning fluids. These are the dilatant, that is shear thickening fluids. Thixotropic. These are called thixotropic fluids, and these are called as shear thickening fluids. Shear thickening means as you go on increasing the stress, so the viscosity go on increases. Example, quicksand, or can take a corn flour. They are classified as the shear thickening fluids. So quicksand or corn flour or starch, corn flour. Okay. So in case of a quicksand, what happens? Suppose, for example, suppose if we are standing at a beach. So if we stand as the wet sand, your feet will sink in the slightly. Means when we are standing at a beach, and if we are standing on the wet sand, the feet will we feel as if our feet will sink in slightly. But if we run across the sand, thus applying the greater stresses to it, it will behave as a solid and your feet will not sink in. So that is the uh, property of the what we call as a dilatant, that is shear thickening property. Is as we go on applying a stress, so its viscosity go on increases. So these are the different types of fluids. So I hope you understood these things. So we'll continue in the next session. Thank you.